Ian, so we're both project leaders at Fast Motion, so we're used to working with all kinds of clients. So tell me about something interesting you've been doing recently.
Yeah, I've had a client recently, a lot of clients in the healthcare space, but specifically one that comes to mind at recently they're a medical device company. They are pre-commercial. They weren't live yet. They came to us with a very straightforward kind of sales process use case. And what we learned in this project was that the software is only one piece of the puzzle. The the software solution itself was fairly straightforward. We were helping them launch their sales team, launch into a new market, and they wanted to do all this cool, awesome stuff with their sales process, very complicated stuff with it. And we had to really push back and guide them and coach them on wanting to use something more basic, fewer steps, easier for the team to adopt, and let those salespeople that go to, to these offices, to the doctor's offices, to these different places, determine those next enhancements for the sales process. So it was pretty cool. It was very cool learning that space. It was very cool getting to help them, but it was also a big takeaway was, again, that the software is just one piece of the puzzle, and that user adoption, the coaching, and the business process side is a huge part.
So why do you think the sales process at the time was so complicated?
I think a lot of them took experiences they had at other businesses, and they made a lot of assumptions, good assumptions though, but based on prior experience and how they thought the sales process was going to go once they launched the business. And it was really well thought out. It was a good, really, very well detailed, but it would have been really hard for new people to adopt quickly and for them to execute on quickly. And it was a process they hadn't tried in the market yet. So we wanted to get them that had something that had some elements of that, but not everything out of the gate.
Yeah. Did personalities at the client, did that play a role at how that all went down and how you navigated that in your team?
It's a good question. Normally it does. In this case, it was a fantastic team. We really didn't have to manage expectations. They were very receptive to our guidance, but there were folks from several departments that kind of came in with that same idea as the sales process, and we went through that same kind of little bit of pushback, a little bit of guidance, and helped them do that for their sales team and for their kind of service and support team. So not too much on that side, but it's there.
Always is, always is. When you finally delivered, I guess, the project, I imagine this project was a fixed price, fixed scope to start with.
Yes.
What was the sense in the team that you're working with as far as next steps? Did they clearly see what the next steps were, or were they, oh, we need X number of months just to live in this? Like what was that experience?
It went really well. They were very receptive to our guidance. Their team appreciated it. Once we demonstrated the sales process to their sales team, it was very easy for them to understand, easy for them to execute on, and they really appreciated it. They thanked us for kind of guiding them to a more simple, easier to adopt, faster to execute solution.
Wow. Yeah, I find sometimes that when clients finish a project, they often need time to process that, and sometimes that's one of the biggest struggles is helping them know that we've landed a project, but yet for them to be in a place where they understand all of the next steps.
Absolutely.
So when you work, this was a healthcare client, right? So there's something unique about healthcare in general, and you said this was a medical device company. So what advice, if I were running a medical advice company now, and I've got these different sales processes and just these different personalities on my team, and I know of all of this stuff in my business, what's my net, how do I think, how should I think about, like you said, software, process, what should the order of operations in my mind be?
That's a really good question. And in my experience, launching with something that allows the teams to do their day-to-day job, but is not so complex that they have trouble adopting it. Get it to that MVP, minimum viable product state. Let the team do their job. Let the team execute. Let them run the process through real-world scenarios, and let them tell you, as whoever's in charge of that software internally, let them give you that feedback. Let them tell you what would make their lives easier, or the experiences they're having, or the blockers that they're running into, because that's going to be the best feedback you're going to get. And that's definitely the most cost-effective way to implement new software or new processes.
Yeah. And Ian, I know some of what we do in our role is we actually help the sales team on our side and help Salesforce help potential clients understand the value of using Salesforce and what the implementation might look like, and that whole approach that we take. And yes, we've done it hundreds of times, but help them really think through those steps, because for so many business owners, and many of us, we've been business owners ourselves, we're always looking for what is that return on investment. So with this particular project, or maybe you can speak to others, but what's the best way for those clients to see that ROI when they finish a project like this?
Seeing the team using the thing that you just built is the most immediate suggestion of return on investment. And the financial return on investment typically is a little longer term. You've got to run through deal cycles and you've got to close deals, but you definitely have efficiency wins out of the gate. So user adoption, seeing real data being put through your process, and getting feedback from the team. If your team is coming to you with feedback about things that'll make their lives easier, that is a huge benefit. And those financial return on investment comes through them running through the processes that you want them to run through, and them ultimately being more efficient in their day-to-day jobs.
Nice. And when you finished this project, did you have a follow-on project with this client? And what did that look like?
In this particular case, they wanted to implement our solution that we implemented for them. They wanted to run that play for a few months. This was a recent project, so they're going to start delivering in the market their product, and they're going to come back to us. The plan right now is to come back in a month or two with that feedback that they're getting from their sales team, so we can implement that.
Nice. And I really like the way that the way that we do things allows for that. That there's the option to roll straight into a phase 2, a second project, if that makes most sense. Some clients, they need a breather, or they need to run through a few reps themselves, once the whole team's on there, all of that. And then you'll see a month, 2 months, 3 months later, they come back. And I think, our model just really creates that relationship. And I think, if among all the things that we do, creating that relationship with the client just seems to be really powerful, because yes, we care about, their processes. Yes, we care about the business, but we really care about them as people. And just like we're people, we've got families, we've got kids, and we're doing this. Our clients, they have the same, and I have clients that, they're having kids, and so they're trying to navigate on their end how they keep going on the stuff we're working with and keep testing, and we have to work around that. And it is that symbiotic kind of relationship, and that's why we really appreciate that we get to be a partner and not a vendor. 100%. I hate that. I hate, people think, oh, you're our vendor. It's like, no, we're partners. Let's work together. Let's work shoulder to shoulder. And that's why, we get up every day and do this, again and again, because it matters.
You're absolutely right. In this project particularly, our main stakeholder was a previous client who was working at another company And when they got to this company, they reached out to me directly, but they reached out to Fast Slow Motion and said, hey, you guys were awesome partners. And we really would like, I'm in this new business and I'd like to hire you guys as a partner again. Love to work with you. And it's fantastic. I've known this particular person for 3 years now. And you're absolutely right. The partnership aspect of it is so rewarding. Most of the businesses we work with are in that mid-market or growth type business, and they're not, $100 million businesses. They're, generally speaking, a lot of them family-owned businesses, or we're speaking directly to the owners and the people whose lives we're like really making a difference in. They don't have to work on the weekends because the process is more efficient now. Those kinds of things. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I have a lot of clients, they kind of say, well, we'd like to expand. We're growing at a good rate. We don't know when we can hire people, and they're going through this growth pain. And for us to be able to be a part of that, it's painful. And, this is why our model, week to week, it can change because priorities change, things, adjust and shift. And us being able to be in that with them, and then to get to the other side and then, wow, we have hired 5, 6, 7, 8 more salespeople because of this process, because of the software, the visibility into everything. We can see ahead. Whereas before we could only see this far, now we can see over the horizon. And that's so rewarding because, at the end of the day, their business is growing. They are impacting more people, whatever product service they have. They are hiring more people. That's more people's families being taken care of. And I think, yes, we're Salesforce consultants, we're business consultants. We do what we do, but it's because of people at the end of the day. And for me, that's why I'm here. So.